I posted a photo a little while ago that sparked quite a lot of interest and thoughts and requests for me to share it. I'm your cool Uncle Marissa, and I plastic polished one of my limited edition Pokemon lenses so that the deep scratches would go away. Now this is a very quick and dirty video. I don't have a lot prepared for it. I just wanted to respond to you guys' request. So first off, the lens is plastic, so you're gonna polish it the way you would polish any plastic item. You want to take the lens out first off, because in order to get an even polish, you need to get it on the entire thing, and if you keep it on the Game Boy, you're risking damaging the body, scratching up the body while doing that. When I first tried it, I did tape the body around it, but that just meant that I didn't get as much of the lens sanded as I needed to, and I had to go over it again out of the shell to get a more even finish. So unfortunately, you're gonna have to pop it out, whether you want to do that with a razor because you get crazy, or you want to open it up and pop it out. Just apply some heat to it once it's just the shell. Get off all of the adhesive. You can do that with, I don't know, isopropyl alcohol, with Goo Gone, whatever. And what I like to use for polishing, first off, you need to sand. So get some fine grit sandpaper. I started at 800 and I went up to 5,000, and I would recommend going higher. I would recommend going up to 8,000 if you're gonna go out and buy sandpaper. That's all that I had at the time, and I did not think to grab any more. But if I could go back, I would do so. And you will need a plastic polishing kit. Now, in my opinion, they're all kind of the same, it seems like, but I like the Tamiya plastic polishes because they're made for model kits. So they have that focus on, small plastic things, and they come in small tubes. So as someone who doesn't have a ton of space, I don't want to buy the Novus ones. Novus is another one that people swear by. That's plastic polish, but it comes in larger bottles, and I don't want to have that around, but you can check that out. There's also Polywatch that people recommend, but that's more of a one-step solution, so I don't know if it's as effective. And I'll just quickly show you my process, but before I do, just some disclaimer. I did not get mine polished to the extent that any swirls are invisible. There are still swirls from the abrasion of the polished and the sandpaper. It is what it is. I think I could probably get it better with going up to 8,000, but you're probably not going to get a factory finish. It's just very visible on something that's transparent, as opposed to if you were plastic polishing something opaque. You might also get a better finish if you use a rotary tool like a Dremel or something like that, but please be very careful. I'm not recommending it because the heat generated could melt through your lens, and that is going to be worse than just a few deep scratches. So if that's something that you have access to and can practice with, or already know how, go ahead. But I did not do that. That's scary. But yeah, let's take a look as I polish my second Pokemon lens. Okay, first I figure we can kind of set expectations. So this is the Game Boy Color that I already polished. We can see even when it's black, you can't really see any of those swirls that I mentioned, so it looks really nice and clean. And here's the Game Boy Color we're going to restore in this video. So you can see it's got a lot of scratches, kind of all over. But what does it look like when we turn it on? So you can sort of see the scratches, the deeper ones on the top left, but for the most part, it's not going to interfere like crazy when you're playing. So that's another thing to keep in mind when you're doing this, like how big of a deal is it to you? And just a harsh light look, we can see all of the scratches, and we can see the swirl scratches on the polish screen. Again, I'm sure that there's a better way to get it to have fewer swirls, but there's not really any issue when it comes to playability unless you're playing under this light, in which case you're just not going to be able to see. I've played and completed games on the more scratch screen. You can see them a lot more. You can actually see them while playing a game, and they're pretty strong on the edges too. But, you know, it's really up to you. Is it actually bothering you? So we're just going to disassemble it so we can get to the lens. It's annoying, but it has to be done. And definitely put something soft underneath because we don't want even more scratches in the process of trying to clear up our scratches. You can use a plastic spudger to remove the screen from the lens. You're going to have to really take your time with this if you are removing an OEM screen. Those can be stuck down pretty firmly. Otherwise, if it's your own work, it's probably easier. And then from here, we just want to use some heat from a hairdryer or something to loosen the glue so that the lens can pop out. And I would also pull out the adhesive on the inside and clean up any residue with isopropyl alcohol. All right, here we have it, all clean. I still need to clean the residue on the lens. Don't forget to do that as well. Just make sure you don't get too much alcohol on the screen itself. And then all we're doing is wet sanding. Like I said, you start at a coarser grit, I think I started at 800. Have a little bowl of water with you, dip it in the water or drip some water onto the lens, and then just, go over it. The way you know it's time to move up a grit, it's kind of when the feedback in your body changes to be more consistent. You'll notice when you first start sanding that there are some parts which are bumpier than others. So that'll give you a change in feedback. But then you will get those spots and you'll just feel that in your bones. You'll know what I'm talking about once you do it, or if you've ever sanded something before by hand. And even if your issue is focused in one area, just be consistent nonetheless. Otherwise, you risk overdoing a single area and causing dips and valleys. I'm not gonna belabor this. All you need to do is, once you get that evenness, go to the next grit and just keep doing that until you're at the highest grit. Again, I went up to about, I think, 5,000, but go higher. You will probably get a better finish the higher you go. I just didn't have it. Another thing is between each change, you will want to use some water to wash off the residue from your lens, and also swap out your bowl or dish of water with a new one so that you're not picking up sandpaper residue from there either. Once we're all done with that, we're going to go to our coarse polishing compound. Whatever it is that you purchased, it should have a coarse, a fine, and a finish. And you can apply that to the lens and use a microfiber cloth to just rub it in. And similarly, you want to go all over, be consistent, and just massage it in. Next up, we're going to move to the fine compound, and it's the same deal. If you go up high enough in your sandpaper grit, you might not even have to use the coarse compound. You can jump straight to the fine because, again, these polishing compounds are abrasive as well. And with that being said, don't dig in with these. You're just sort of conditioning it. You are welcome to wash off any residue in the last step, and then we will go to our finishing compound. Again, same thing. Just rub it in circles. As for finishing up to place it back on your Game Boy, make sure that there's no dust or anything on the back. And I like to have a roll of cell phone repair tape to come in handy in times like these. You just need a very small amount on each side, and it'll just stick very well to your shell. Another note is to reduce the effects of the microabrasions and swirls and stuff that are still present. A glass screen protector is super helpful. I don't have any specific recommendations. I'm still looking to find a seller whose stock is not like super old and dying. But I got a 3-pack, only one of them really stuck on without any bubbles, but it really does make a world of difference, and you can get them on AliExpress pretty cheap, so grab a few and hopefully one works. But that gives it that final finish, and the glass look obviously is going to be much nicer than straight up plastic, and it'll protect against future scratches too. When I'm replacing a lens kind of like this, I like to have it on so that I can see if there's any dust there. And there we go. All right, yeah, thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful and answered your questions. Again, it's not perfect. And one thing to remember, anytime you have any questions about doing something to a game console or something that's related to the material, try to think broader. You know, I know a lot of people are like, well, how do you polish like a Game Boy Lens, or how do you paint a GameCube or something like that? Just look up how to do so with plastic. As if you know the type of plastic it's made of, that's even better, and you will find plenty more answers and much more helpful answers than if you were to narrow it down to just like the console that you're looking to modify. And you know, you're just going to have access to a lot more resources, because ultimately what you're looking at is not, it doesn't matter if it's a GameCube or if it's a like chair. If it's both plastic of the same or similar material, it's going to be the same process. So that will open up a lot more resources for you. And I think honestly, that is my most valuable tip in this video, not even the polishing. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in stuff like this, please do subscribe. Join our Discord in the description to continue the conversation, show off your polishing techniques, and feel free to check out my Ko-fi if you want to support the channel or grab some goodies. All that being said, I have been your cool Uncle Marissa, and do not forget that Cool Uncle loves you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!